Alright, so a customer brought me this Sony Vaio laptop. This is model VJS142C11L. I actually saw a video of another one having the same exact issue, so I'm wondering if it's the same cause. We're going to be taking it apart using a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. Basically, the computer just randomly shuts off. Alright, you want to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk and the pattern and I remove them. Alright, so there's a whole bunch of screws, so make sure to keep track of them. Okay, but anyways, basically this laptop, it keeps shutting itself off. At first, the customer told me they think it's a virus, but I guess because it's not their computer, it's like a company computer or something. So they're just going based off of what the client or the user of the computer was telling them. But basically, it just randomly shuts off on its own while you're using it. Okay, I thought it was possibly a software issue because when I went to the recovery or BIOS screen, it would stay on. But then I did a little more testing, and then when I went to go and try and install Windows, it was just shutting off like partway through the process. So it seems like as it tries to do more heavy processing, then that's when it kind of shuts off, because basically it's most likely going to be a fan issue. But we'll see. The other thing we thought it might be is the battery or possibly the charger, because at first, like when plugging it in, the charge light wasn't coming on. That could be a result of the overheating, assuming it's the fan issue. But anyways, the other person in their video said that what they found online was, I think they said they found out on an iFixit video or something, that there's a resettable fuse that was having issues. And basically, that fuse went bad. And then what they ended up doing was they bridged the connection where the fuse goes to basically just get the power to go across, and the fan would spin. They also said they tried replacing the fan twice. I don't know if you guys will be able to find that video, but I think if you search the same thing, like this model randomly shutting off, you'll probably find that video. He didn't replace the fuse. He said he'd look for a fuse and then do that, but he did give some more information, like the amperages and stuff like that. I don't usually know that much about the circuitry to go into that detail, so if you want that information, you might have to go into his videos. We're gonna see if bridging it across will do the same thing here, assuming it's the fan. Alright, anyways, now that we got the screws out, let's see if we can pop this out. How easy or difficult is that going to be? Okay, they didn't show that process, so I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to go into the gap here and see if we can pop some clips, maybe. Sometimes the clips are this way, sometimes they're the other way. It did kind of pop a little bit, okay. So I'm just using my fingernails, pushing with my thumb here and pulling up with my other fingernails. Obviously, you can use pry tools. You do want to be careful because, again, I think the keyboard portion comes up first. So we're going to go ahead and carefully kind of lift. You can see this side kind of lifted already. I'm going to go down this side. I got to be a little bit careful because the screws are over there. Okay. And let's see, can we pop this? I think there's clips that you need to kind of go along the side here to pop. So you can see once you get here, the clips didn't release, so I gotta try and unclip that. It doesn't seem to want to come out easily. Wow, these clips, okay, there we go actually. So it helped to pull from the middle here and then push with your thumb. Basically it curls the thing, so it pulls the clips down away from the rest of the housing. Okay, and then the back seems to also be clipped weird. Okay, I guess just wiggling it around kind of gets it to unclip. This side unclipped all the way, but this side's still stuck. Okay, let's rotate it this way, and then we'll kind of wiggle and pull from here. Oh, there we go. I gotta be careful because there's a power button there, and I don't want to risk tearing any cables that might be underneath. Let's see, here you can see we have this one cable here. Okay, and oh, it actually came out. So, alright, so we're going to carefully lift this side towards the screen and then rotate it. Okay, and now that we rotated it, we have access to the connector here. So here's what the inside looks like with the keyboard on top. Okay, we go. All right, let's zoom in and disconnect that cable here. Actually, should we leave it all connected and see what happens? You see, okay, this fan spins just fine, but what they said was this, oops, sorry, can't even see. So the fan, like, physically itself spins okay, but what they said they found out was this little piece here, okay? They said that this is what went bad. You see that little rectangular, triangular piece or whatever, okay? So this little piece is what, oops, I'm not even in camera, there you go. This little piece is what they said went bad. So basically, if you jump this across, it'll basically work. But the thing is, since you're going to, if you jump that across, then it's no longer a fuse. So if something goes wrong, it's gonna fry somewhere else along inside the computer. All right. Anyways, let me see if I'm gonna try and short those two pins across and power it on. But let's go ahead and power it on first. Okay. So we have access to everything here. All right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna push the power button. Let me zoom out more. Okay. We're gonna push the power button here. It should turn on, I hope. Oh, yep. Okay, the green light's on. And you see this fan's not spinning. So most likely what's happening is the fan can't spin, and because of that, it's overheating. I don't know if there's an easy way to repair this. We'll pull this little cage off later. Most likely the thermal paste is going to need to be redone if the fan is the problem. Okay, as you can see, the fan's still not spinning. Let me see what happens if I short that. Hopefully it doesn't explode on me or something, but here we go. Okay, shorting these two pieces isn't doing anything. We're gonna have to probably restart the computer with that shorted. So I'm gonna go ahead and now go into here, and we're gonna shut down the computer. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do, I don't know how conductive this screwdriver bit is. Let me get the other one that's a little bit, probably a little more conductive. Okay, so we're just gonna get a flathead screwdriver bit, okay? And I'm basically just gonna jump the two pieces here. So we're gonna jump this here, just straight across. At least I think I'm reaching straight across. Okay, I'm gonna just touch there. Be careful to not to touch the cage portion, and then we'll turn it on and see if anything different happens. I don't know if I'm even actually making contact with both portions at the same time. Nothing's happening right now, so I don't know. I feel like if I try and log in, let me see. Let's try and log in. Is it gonna shut off immediately, or what's gonna happen? Okay. Usually it stays on quite a while before it shuts off. Still nothing. Okay, do I need to short this? I don't know. I mean, it's staying on right now. The guy also said, like, when he manually pushed it, it would sometimes keep going. This one's not doing anything. Nothing is happening. The fan still isn't spinning. Oh yeah, this is getting hot. This is getting super hot. So for some reason the fan just isn't spinning at all. And shorting this doesn't seem to be doing anything. I think it's gonna overheat. It's just gonna shut off. Okay, so what it is there's a issue with the fan. The fan's not spinning at all. I don't even hear anything happening. Okay. So most likely that's super hot. It's gonna end up shutting off in a bit. So what we're gonna do, let's go ahead and try and restart this right now. And while it's restarting, let me see if I continue shorting this. I don't know if it's even jumping across. I might have to use some conductive tweezers or something. I have some ESD tweezers. I don't think that's gonna let electricity travel across though. Let's see, what I could do is I can try with some paper clips maybe. Okay. And I'll basically just make two ends of the paper clip touch across. Okay. Let's see if that does anything. I don't think it will, but we can try. Okay. We'll try. We're experimenting here. Okay. So I got this paper clip, and basically I'm just going to make it touch both ends here. Okay. And let's turn it on now and see. Is it going to turn on? Oh, oops. It's hard to hold it in place there. Do you see the fan twitch a little? No, nothing. Nothing is happening with the fan. Maybe on this one the fan really is the issue instead of it being this piece. Unless leaving that in place and is causing it to not work. I don't know. But yeah, that's definitely super hot. So the issue is actually the fan. Okay, anyways, we did rule out that it's the fan that's the problem. So what we're gonna do, let's go ahead and shut this down. I can see about replacing the fan, but if it's the same issue as the other person said, then yeah, I don't know. Is there a way, can I test it while it's still in there? Usually those, if it's in the circuit, it's not gonna test properly. Let me see what happens if I check it with a voltmeter, what it's showing. Okay, so I'm going to take a voltmeter and I'm going to try and just see what I see across those two. Okay. Oh. Alright, so we got a voltmeter here. Let's see what's showing up across those 2 points here. It's okay. Yeah, so this fuse is fine. You see, power's going through it just fine. What happens if I actually power it on? It's doing 9.2 ohms while it's on. So power's flowing through it, unless it's going through the rest of the circuit and then going all the way around. Because I'm wondering if it should be a 0. Normally, if it's like straight through, you see it should be showing 0, but it's actually showing like 17, almost 16.5. So, but if I go through like other of these components, see, there's like much more resistance. Like even if I just check this, but definitely it's overheating. So one thing we're going to do, I'm going to have to see if I can get a replacement fan with easy returns, because otherwise if I order a fan and then I'm stuck with it. But anyways, let's remove the keyboard. So there's this flip latch. Just flip that up. Once you flip that, you can go ahead and pull this connector out. We'll set that aside for now. If you want to see what's inside, you have access to the little touchpad buttons down there. Okay, 4 screws, connector there. You got another connector going over. So the keyboard connector, actually the keyboard connects to this board here, and then this has a separate cable. The touchpad also connects there, and then the keyboard backlight connects there. This keyboard is held in place with melted plastic, so if you're going to replace this keyboard, you probably want to replace the whole top piece, not just the keyboard itself. Alright, there's an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD here. Wireless card here. If you want to remove it, the antennas, you go from the tail and pull straight up. Try and go as close as you can to the connector. One screw, it pops up slightly, you can pull it out. Same thing with the M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. I don't know what this on-off switch thingy is for, but by default it's in the on position. Okay, it looks like this is the LCD LVDS connector. It looks like it's a pull-up tab, but they have this foam stuff on top. I don't want to mess with that. And then there's also this grounding cable wire there. Alright, we got the battery here. Battery model, is there a model number? Oh, it's under this tape stuff. Seriously? It's under this tape. I guess if you want to replace your battery, you're going to have to peel this up. This one, the battery... Oh, actually, sorry. Battery model number's right there. VJ8BPS52A. Alright, there's the battery model. You can see the amperage and everything. Okay, 2 USB ports and the headphone audio jack, headset jack. And the speakers connect right there. So if any of these are not working, you might want to check this board. Or maybe this cable, right? Connects to the motherboard here underneath the battery. The battery connector seems to be one that you can just pull back. Okay, I'm not going to pull that out, but usually you grab the wire and you kind of just wiggle it side to side. Like I'd have to pinch inside like this underneath and kind of wiggle it side to side. So that way it kind of slowly will rock the connector out like that. Alright, fan is there. DC jack charge port connectors here, which has a wire connected underneath the heatsink. You can probably get to it without removing the heatsink, but yeah, you might have to. Alright, then there's this little wire that goes up into the screen. I'm not exactly sure what that is for, but possibly the camera. Okay, what else? The fan, I think that's all that's in here to look at. There's a little chip here that's also underneath a foam pad. They don't really label what that is. And then they have this, whatever this MSCC thing is. Usually that's a network connector for like mobile broadband or something. But I don't know. Yeah, it's not the same connector as this M.2 SSD. Okay, so yeah. Also, oh, I guess let me take this out because we are going to eventually have to pop that out to redo thermal paste if the customer decides to do the fan replacement. So basically what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to get under this connector as much as possible and then wiggle side to side as I pull. It looks like this foam adhesive is kind of stretching, so let's see if we can peel that out a little bit or completely off. Okay, so peel that. Okay, I guess peel it from the connector side so you can leave it attached. Okay, so once you peel that up, then you can go ahead and grab that, wiggle that, and there we go. Battery is disconnected. Okay, I'm going to press and hold the power button to drain any residual power. I don't see a separate CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery anywhere in here, but there is somewhat of a gap underneath, so it's possible to fit one under there, but I don't know. Usually what I do if I want to find out if the BIOS or CMOS is having issues, I'll look for the motherboard or logic board on eBay or somewhere, and hopefully I can see the other side without having to physically take it out, because then you have to take all this adhesive out and everything. Okay, anyways, let's see about removing the heatsink cover here. So usually I'll just get underneath a corner. It's like a RAM cover, and I'll try and pry it up from there. Let's see, can I even get under these? No? Okay, since I can't, there's a little gap here. Maybe I can use that to help pull it up. Wow, that's really stiff. Okay, pull up that side, and then maybe I can get underneath a corner. Yeah, okay, so now I got underneath the corner. You can see how it lifted, and we're going to kind of work our way down to this corner. There we go. Be careful not to drop this onto the rest of the motherboard, although the battery power drain should have helped prevent any issues. Oh, you could have also gone from here, but be careful not to put any pressure on the copper heat pipe. You don't want to damage that. Okay, so it's still being difficult. There we go. Okay, so here we have the little heat shield thing. I don't know if that really helps with anything, and I'm pretty sure this is the RAM up here, those 4 chips. Okay, this tape is underneath, so it looks like 4 screws, and then you can lift the heatsink out. But I'm gonna have to wait and see what the customer wants to do. For now, we're just going to see about removing the fan, and then maybe see if we can replace the fan and if that would help fix the issue, because like I said, I do see very low resistance coming across here. So usually that means it's at least getting power through it. Maybe it can be degraded if it's meant to be 0 resistance. But anyways, okay, it looks like we're going to have to switch over to a PH0 JS0 screwdriver. Also, there's adhesive holding this cable down, so we're going to have to take that out. Hopefully it's just these 2 screws, and then we can pull the whole fan out. Yep, okay, and it does have this portion that tucks underneath there. So we are going to have to peel some of the tape up because it's stuck right there. So I'm going to try and get underneath there and try and peel this tape up. I hate this kind of tape because usually if you're not careful it just shreds itself. I don't know why they like to use this kind of tape. Maybe it's for that purpose so they can know if you opened it. But there we go. Okay, we'll take that out. And now we have access to the fan. Usually, again, I just get really close to the connector as possible. Or if you have a tool that you can grab that, the plastic portion, grab that and then just wiggle it. And as you wiggle it, pull. And there you go. You can see which way the fan connector goes. You want those metal pins faced up. All right. You want this rainbow connector portion face down. Okay. So I'm going to have to see about getting a replacement fan for this and then see if that will work. They do have a model number here, but you do want to check and make sure it looks the same. BAZA0506R5H. And that's what the fan looks like, at least the front side. Okay, and the back side if you want to see that. This one does have screws. If the grease goes bad, you can actually open this thing up. There's a little tab here as well, and you can actually pop the blades off and then add grease. Okay, again, I'm going to have to see about getting a replacement fan because that seems to be what the issue is. For now, I'm going to put this metal box back, but we'll take it back out later just because I don't want to leave this on. Just line everything back up here. It's a little bit tricky because you have to get all the little tabs lined up right. Okay. Then once you get it all lined up, just push it down. Okay. Hopefully I'm showing everything properly. Okay, I think it's all in, so we should be good. All right, I'm gonna see about getting a new fan, and then we'll try replacing that and hope that works. All right, so I'll see you guys once we get that fan. Bye for now. All right, let's see if we can fix the fan issue of this Sony Vaio by just jumping that fuse connector. Okay, so we have this little, where is it? You can't even see. Oh, the lighting is kind of bad, but that little tiny thing, we're going to basically just pop that off. Okay, and then hopefully once we get that off, we're just going to jump it. It's so tiny, we can probably just jump it with a, what do you call? Just with the solder itself. We're going to take this metal box off just because it's in the way. So let's go ahead and lift this back up. Okay, we're going to lift this back out. Pop that out. Okay, and let's go ahead and heat that and then pop it out. I'm going to try and avoid getting it onto the copper thing because then it's just going to get a blob of solder permanently stuck there. But let's go ahead and see if we can just heat this up and push it off. Should come out relatively easily. It's tiny. Come on. Come on. Wow, it's really stuck on there. Maybe I have to add a little solder to bridge the two pieces. Now, I would have thought it would just plop off really easily from the heat of the soldering iron. Come on. Jeez, sorry if the cable's getting in the way. Let's see if I heat this side. And heat this side. Wow, yeah, it's not coming out easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some solder, I'm going to add it to it, and that hopefully will do the trick. Okay. We'll heat that, and then we'll just add some solder right on top. Come on, get off. How is that possible? piece doesn't really want to come off. The whole thing's like covered with solder and it's still, oh, there we go. Okay. I don't know if I'll be able to get the solder off of that little piece. There we go. Okay, now we're just going to add a blob of solder to basically jump the two pieces together. If we can. I might have to put a wire just because the gap is so too big for the solder to jump. Yeah, I'm gonna add a piece of wire because the gap is too large. So let me cut a piece of wire and I'll be back. Okay, what I ended up doing is I just took a wire, lifted it, basically took these wires, frayed it. Basically we'll solder that down. Okay. That should be good. And I'm going to now cut the excess out and then we shall test it and see what we got. Okay. There we go. So we have that now. That is shorted together. Let's go ahead and plug the fan in and see if we have any luck here. Okay, we'll plug the fan in. Okay, pinch that together. Good. All right, let me double check myself close up. Looks good. Okay, everything looks soldered nicely. Let's go ahead and get this thing back into place here. Oh, sorry, let me zoom out here. And get the fan back in. Okay, and then I'm going to just plug the thing in and see. Oh, this one's just over here. Actually, how was this before? Was it out like that? Yeah. Okay, so what we want to do is basically just make sure the fan is spinning. So we're going to plug the battery back in, plug the keyboard back in, and then we'll test. So let's plug the keyboard first. Light up. Get that in. Come on. Okay, now that's in. Latch that down. All right, let's go ahead and get the battery connected back in. And actually, one thing we'll do, just to make sure that nothing happens with their data, let's go ahead and pull the SSD out. So the SSD is this M.2 here. And pull that out. All right, we just want to make sure the fan starts spinning. If the fan spins and we get the BIOS and everything, then we should be good to go. Okay, line the battery connector back up. A little bit tricky. Come on. Don't go at an angle. Go, there we go. Okay, pinch it straight in. All right, let's go ahead and power it up. Green light is on. And I don't see anything happening with the fan, so I think it's not gonna work. We'll see. We'll give it some time. The BIOS is reset right now, so it might take some time for it to come up. But yeah, nothing's happening with the fan. Nothing's happening with the fan, so I have a feeling the fan is dead. Because I would think at this point the fan would still spin. The Vaio thing's on. Okay, Vaio failed to start Windows. Okay, obviously it's failed to start Windows because there's no start BIOS setup. I don't know if there's anything I can run in the BIOS to get it to run hot, because right now it's cold. and it would need to heat up before the fan starts spinning, most likely. Okay, so right now nothing is happening. Yeah, there's nothing here that I can really run to force it to get it hot. So let's see, maybe if I just plug in the charger, that will make it run hotter. Okay, so we'll plug in the charger. Alright, and sometimes that will get it to run harder. I can also maybe try booting my USB. Let's try maybe booting my Linux USB and see if I can force it to run hotter. I can do like a RAM test or something. Okay, we'll plug in my USB. Let's go ahead and disable secure boot so we can boot from it. It's enabled right now, so let's disable that. Sorry, it's hard to use the touchpad while it's vertical in the air. I don't know if you can, that's what I'm doing right now. Yes. Okay, so we saved it. I'm gonna restart. I'm gonna hold the F3 key to hopefully get back to the boot options, or maybe it will just do it on its own. Oops. I didn't know reset actually just reset the settings. Is that what it did? Exit. Okay. Okay. Yes. I'm gonna hold the F3 key down. I still haven't seen the fan spin yet, although this isn't very hot. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go to start from USB device. Right, it's gonna boot my USB. I have a parted magic on here, and I'm basically gonna try to, let's go ahead and just run the mem test and see if that runs. If that runs, maybe that will run it warm enough. Okay. It's running mem test. It's not hot enough yet, but still no luck. It's pretty warm now, but it actually says the temperature here, 50 Celsius. Is that what it is, or is that the RAM temperature? It's not hot enough for the fan to go. As you can see, nothing is happening here. Nothing's happening. Showing 60 degrees Celsius. Yeah, nothing's happening. So replacing that didn't do anything. Most likely I'm gonna have to see if my partner knows what's going on here, because he does more of the board diagnosing. Yeah, it's most likely just gonna get too hot and then shut off. It's at 61 degrees now, and still no fan, no luck with the fan. So I'm sure if I just keep letting this run, it's gonna eventually shut off. So that little fuse didn't solve the problem. Oh, actually, the fan is spinning now. Okay, so I think that worked. So that fuse is bad. I'm gonna have to see if we can get a replacement fuse. Otherwise, I mean, it can run with this, and we should be okay, as long as nothing else goes bad and then fries something else. But yeah, as you can see, shorting that actually worked. Temperatures drop back down to 56. And if I close this, it'd probably help even more. Okay. So that definitely looked like it worked. You can see it dropped to, I don't know if you can, well, it dropped to 55 now out of 62. So it hit 62 at one point, now it dropped to 55. So that actually worked. So it definitely is that little piece there. I'm not that good with that micro soldering, so I'm gonna have to see if my partner can do it. And if he has the replacements of those fuses, because I don't usually do that kind of thing. And maybe he can get the schematics to find out what the amperage and all of that stuff is. I saw a video of it before, but I don't know, I couldn't find another video of it, or I couldn't find that same video anymore, so we'll just go from there. Alright, so I'll see if my partner can do that. Otherwise, we'll have to probably just leave it like that, and that should work. I am going to redo the thermal paste and everything. I'll see what he charges to do that little piece, and yeah. Alright, so we'll see you guys once we get that all done, but it looks like the fan is working now. Alright, let's reapply the thermal paste on this. So there's 4 screws we're going to remove, holding the heatsink down. Let's go ahead and remove these 4 screws. Oh, these seem to be PH0 or JS0 screws. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove them all. You do want to disconnect the battery and then press and hold the power button for at least 10 to 15 seconds. Well, 15 seconds to be safe or longer, to drain any residual power. Alright, that makes it a lot safer to work on this thing, and you're less likely to cause any damage. Alright, so now that we got the 4 screws out, let me zoom out a tiny bit just so you can see. We might have to remove the fan if this is in the way, because this sometimes is a little difficult. Usually it helps to kind of wiggle this, okay, to release the thermal paste. You can see after we wiggle it, now we can lift this up. Oh, the tape is somewhat stuck to this, so we do have to kind of get that around. Alright, oh, did they hide? Oh man, they hid something under here. So they hid... They hid part of the thing under here. So we're going to have to remove that. Oh, let me zoom out so you can see. So I took out the screw that was here. There was 1 screw there. And we're going to remove the other screw that's down here. Okay. That way we can lift out the little lock mechanism here. And we're going to have to bend that piece of the metal back down. Okay, so you can see we can lift this up. I'm just going to lift it slightly. You do have to push this back because the headphone jack is in there. So lift this portion first, and then you can push that out. And I'm just going to do that so I can get this piece out. Okay, and then that way we can get the heatsink out. So this lifts out easily. And then now we can go ahead and lift the heatsink out. This got bent a little bit, so I'm going to bend it back down. Okay, so this piece, bend it back down. Okay, it's better to be bent down further because when you put it back down, it's going to help push this down. Alright, here's the thermal paste, what it looks like. We're going to clean it off. We just need a little paper towel and a little isopropyl alcohol. So first thing you want to do, be careful. You really don't want to bend this tube here, the pipe, because if you do, then the vacuum's not going to work well in there and it's not going to transfer the heat very well. Okay, so we're just going to wipe this off. First we're just wiping it, and then we're going to use isopropyl alcohol to clean it up better. So we clean that portion off. Now we're going to clean this off. Okay, and actually this paste is still pretty liquidy for how many times it's been shutting off and from overheating. So I'm actually impressed. Okay, with whatever kind of thermal paste that is. Alright, now we're just going to use a piece of paper towel with some isopropyl alcohol. I have some 91%, and we're just going to pour it onto the paper towel. Usually don't do that over the computer because you don't want to accidentally spill it all over your computer. Although it's likely not going to cause any problem, you don't want to spill it either way. You still don't want to spill it all over your computer. Okay, so we're going to wipe this down. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys, and so you can see it better. Okay. So we're going to wipe this down. Alright, and I'm going to replace the thermal paste with some PTM79, is it 7950? I believe that's what it's called. Yep, 7950. I'm like, was it 7590? No, okay. PTM7950. Okay, so we'll dry that up. And then I'll use this little thing to blow off any wind. Alright. We'll clean up the heatsink as well, because the heatsink also has paste that's still on it, so we're going to clean that. Just wipe that down. Alright, there we go. Dry it off. Make sure there's no paper towel lint on it. Alright, sorry it was going off camera, but there you go. Clean that up. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're going to cut the PTM stuff to fit here. So we'll go here. We need 2 little small rectangles. Okay, so this stuff, let's see here. I wonder if I can use that. Oh, I might have to fridge this to make it easier to get out of here. Oh, okay, I got it. It was peeling itself. So let's see. Is that going to be too thin? No, that should be good because it'll pinch itself out. Okay. And let's go ahead and let's see here. So we need about that much. Okay, so I'm going to cut a piece of this here. Alright, and we're going to use some tweezers to grab and maneuver it. Okay. This little piece here. So I gotta peel this off. Can be a little tricky to separate these layers of this stuff. Okay. There we go. Now that we got that, we're just gonna stick it down. That. All right, and then we'll peel off the clear layer once we get the other one. So we got that. Now we need a second piece here to fit this. That would be too big. Let's see. It's too small. Okay, I guess we'll just cut a brand new one. So we'll cut this here. I'm gonna mark it. Take a marker and we're just going to cut it to size here. That. Okay, then we'll line this up and we'll cut this to size here. Okay, now we'll go ahead and cut this shape out. Okay. We'll just cut like this. Okay, and then cut this one. All right. Now we have this piece here. We're going to separate the layer. Tricky. There we go. Come on. Peel that off carefully. There we go. Okay. Oh, I dropped it on this. Okay. Ah! Why isn't it sticking? Stick on here, please. Okay. So, got that. Make sure we don't got any of the lint on there. Okay, now we just line this up, stick that down, stick that down. Okay, good. Try to push out any bubbles. All right, now we just gotta peel this up. peel this one up. Go. Okay, and then we'll just get the heatsink back on and we should be good to go. All right, get that back on. Let's zoom out a bit so you can kind of see over here. All right, so the heatsink just needs to line back up. They number these, they did. Okay, so get that down, line up that piece there. Okay, drop that into place. All right, so we got the 4 screws. I'm gonna start with the first one here. 1, 2, 3. I like to twist it backwards so it clicks and then twist it forward 3 times. So like this, click, 1, 2, 3. That's the second one. Okay, the third one you put down here. Click, 1, 2, 3. Fourth one right here. Click, 1, 2, 3. Then we'll make sure this goes in. So we'll get this piece in here first. Drop that into place. Okay, and did I do that right? Yep, okay. So that just drops in there, then this drops down. Make sure, oops, zoom out. Make sure you get the headphone jack in first, so you need to tilt this side back, this side up, and then this side down, get that in, push that into place, good. And now we'll get this screw back in. This one will tighten down all the way. Perfect. And then we'll get the last screw for this down here. Perfect. Oh. Okay, that screwdriver fits so well it was stuck in the screw. All right, now we'll go back here. 1, 2, 3. Second one. 1, 2, 3. Third one. 1, 2, 3. Fourth one. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll go back to the first one. Twist it all the way. Second one. Twist it all the way. Third one. Twist that all the way. And the fourth one. Twist that all the way. All right. Make sure the fan's in place. Good. Okay. Now all we gotta do is put the keyboard back. Oh, actually, don't forget the metal plate that we took out earlier. Okay, so we took this out. We gotta make sure to line that up. Make sure to line it up between these little metal kind of clips. And push that down. Did I put it upside down? No, that should be, that's right, right? Yep. Okay, that's right. Okay, line it all up. Click it into place. Make sure all these, oh, that's not lining up right. So you need to lift it back up. Okay, and I gotta push this over to make sure that lines up right. Okay, you gotta push it inwards to make sure it gets into the slot. Alright, then the back here, it's going to be a little tricky because it's harder to see. Maybe I should have done the back first. But there we go, line that all up. Push that, make sure it's going into the slots. Good. Oh, this last slot. Go in there. Okay. Make sure that's in. Okay, there we go. Got it all lined up. Pushed it all down. All right. Okay, now that we got all that, the metal shield and everything back on, we just need to get back the keyboard and the battery connector. Keyboard connector goes right here. So to do that, you do have to hold the keyboard up like 90 degrees here. So make sure this latch is flipped open. Let me zoom in here so you can see better. Okay, so you get this. Line it up. Once it's lined up, you use this and then you use your fingers to pull that in. Okay, you should actually feel it slide in and then slide your finger over to latch that back down. All right, so that should be good. You actually see this does stick out a little. It's not, the black line isn't completely up against there. So yeah, If yours is like that, that's normal. Just make sure to test the keyboard and touchpad once you're done. Okay, get the battery connector back in here. Right, battery connector's here. You just have to keep holding the keyboard. It's a little bit tricky, but all right, line that up. Get this back in. Okay, if you want, you can actually lay the keyboard over like this. Okay, and line that up and pinch that in. All right, once you got that all pinched in, you can actually turn it on now and we can test it. So push the button in the corner there. You see it's lighting up green. We can go ahead and flip this back over on top. And if the keyboard and if the touchpad's working, you should be okay. But let me wait for it to power up. Also, the battery acts as the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery. So if for some reason it's taking a while to turn on, that's normal, so don't panic. Okay, so the screen you can see is taking a while. Give it some time. Okay, you should expect it to take up to, I don't know, just leave it for a while. I think it was less than a minute, but if for some reason it's not coming on, just walk away, come back, and there you go. It's on. The date and time is wrong because the thing was reset or the BIOS wasn't keeping time anymore. But yeah, all right, let me see if I can log in. Okay, I think I had a 10-hour YouTube video playing to try and heat it up. Oh, quiet, we don't need that. Okay, so let it go and let's see what happens. The fan should start spinning. All right, so we'll zoom in here. And you should see the fan start spinning once it gets hot. Because I put that PTM stuff, it should take longer for it to get hot enough, or actually it should transfer the heat out faster, so it actually will take longer for the core to get hot enough to start spinning. So let's see. Okay. The fan's not spinning. Did this little trace wire still there? We ended up having to use a trace wire because we didn't have a replacement what do you call, fuse. So I think it might be running. Oh, there you go, now the fan's going. So yeah, that PTM stuff, it works crazy because this got hot way faster. So it actually, what happens is, the reason why this gets hot way faster is because this is so thermally conductive that it pulls the heat really quick over to here. So with the old paste, it took a lot longer for that to happen. You can see the fan spinning now. And we should be good. The trace wire is so tiny, it's really hard to see. Hopefully that should act as a fuse, depending on what the rest of the circuit's like. I don't know if you can even see it. I don't know if I can even zoom in on it. That's fully zoomed 20 times. Can you even see the wire between this? It's really tiny. So, but let me zoom out again so you can see it's still on. Okay, fan's still spinning. And you can see the video still playing. Okay, I don't want to get some copyright strike or something from leaving a video playing there, so we're gonna go ahead and get this all put back together. Okay, the wire stuff is super thin. Let me show you actually, because I also use this wire sometimes. But the wire, this kind of trace wire stuff is super thin. So this is like for cell phone jump wires. You see this spool? It almost looks like solid copper, but you want to see? Look how thin this wire is. You see that? Can you even see the wire? Can you even see the wire? It's thinner than a strand of hair. You see that? So I'm assuming that is going to be thin enough to where if anything tries to pull more voltage, it would fry that before anything else. But yeah, hopefully that's the case. So hopefully if it does break again, it'll just need another wire if for some reason the fan is not working. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Again, let's reassemble this. The video's still playing, the fan's still going. As you can see, this thing got a lot cooler now. Before the fan started spinning, it was like burning hot. yeah, it pulls the heat out really fast. Okay, so this should be good. I'm gonna shut this down now. Okay, and then we're gonna snap the whole cover back together, put all the screws back in, and we should be good to go. Okay, so we'll wait for the green light to turn off. Give me the green light. There we go. To continue. All right, so now we're just gonna pinch everything back together, just like this. Make sure that you pinch it all back together over here as well. Okay, so oops, I accidentally turned it back on. So make sure you pinch all of that back together as well, because you don't want to close the screen when these clips are still sticking up, and then you end up smashing your screen on the raised keyboard section. All right, so I'm going to shut this back down again because it turned itself back on. Close this up, flip this back over, and now we just got to get all these screws back in, and that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, again, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade or repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Again, oops, if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. Other than that, I do have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. If you could subscribe to that one, it's basically all my review videos, but on a separate channel. Yeah, even if you don't watch them, it would help a lot if you could subscribe to that. And yeah, I need to reach 1,000 on there. But that's pretty much it. Again, you're welcome to stay as I get all these screws back in. We'll flip it back over, turn it back on, just to make sure it's still working well. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't. And we're just putting back the screws. And yeah, again, that's pretty much it. All right, let me get all these screws back in. Also, if you notice, I twist the screws backwards before tightening it down. The reason for that is to make sure that it goes into the threads properly and not crooked at an angle, because you don't want the screws to go in at an angle and then it could end up damaging the threads, and then the screw can get stuck or it might not hold anymore. So it's always a good idea to do that. Some people ask me why I don't use like the electric screwdriver thingies, and that's part of the reason why. Although the electric ones, I could also twist it backwards first just to get a feeling like you'll feel it click. But I feel that this way works better. Okay, and also my expensive electric screwdriver that worked better broke. I have a cheaper one that a customer ended up giving me trading for the job, which ended up being, I found out I could find it a lot cheaper than what he paid for it. So I was like, oh, I could have just bought it much cheaper, but it worked out. I used the box to store all my screwdriver bits, and it has some longer bits for other things. So yeah, if he didn't bring that up, I would have never found out about that set that actually works really well for what I do. Okay, so anyways, we only have what, 4 more screws to go. All right, and we should be good. Okay, it took me a while to figure out what was going on with this until I opened it up. The customer thought it was a virus initially, but yeah, I think the reason for that is they don't actually use the computer. It's like a company computer, so because of that, they didn't have like the actual experience of what was going on with it and how it happened when it happened. So here we go. Let's go ahead and power it up again. Okay, green light's good, Vaio's good, and that's pretty much it. We should be good to go. All right, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.